In this review, I'm putting my art skills to the test and doing some graffiti. Alright, I had the pleasure of jumping into Sony PlayStation's exclusive title, Concrete Genie by Pixelopus. This is a throwback title, kind of a feely, when PlayStation was doing these experimental games and kind of bringing you quirky and weird genres that you didn't really see or get on the platform. And it's nice to see this come back on the system and be here for the PlayStation 4 because Pixelopus has made an incredible game with Concrete Genie, and the fact that you play as Ash, the main character, who was sent out into the world, and the world has been in disarray for so long, and everybody is suffering from a sense of depression, and you get this wow, this woe in the city that you're in because it's so gloomy. And the idea is, as Ash, an artist, which really related back to myself, I felt this connection with the game, and Ash is sitting there, he's sketching, and all of a sudden he's hit by these bullies, who then tears his sketch pad apart, and then these pages float throughout the world, and you're out to go capture back your pages and then paint up the town with all this graffiti work.
Nice choice.
So once you've captured all your sketch pages and put them back into your book, the idea then is to take these drawings and put them up on the walls using the graffiti. Now it comes with what I thought was a bit of a gimmick at first. They have the ability to use that 6-axis when you're a controller, and a lot of the times these things are gimmicky and you don't really know if they are part of the world or part of the game that really fits. And when I saw that this is suddenly a motion controlled game as well, I wasn't really feeling it until I got used to the controls. It's pretty simple to move up and down, and that's how the graffiti wand works in a sense. You have this magical paintbrush, and that allows you to graffiti all over all the walls and stuff, bringing you lights, the horizon, grass, whatever you want to put on there is at your fingertips. Now it's not exactly whatever you want to put on, it's what were in the sketch pad pages that were ripped out and tossed about the world. That's kind of limiting in a sense, but at the same time it matches the flow of the game. And the whole art style of the game is this Tim Burton inspired-esque kind of feel, and it is fantastic. The art style itself kind of pulled me in, and then the ability to have this graffiti art up on the walls, and then you're bringing the life back into the world, but then the bullies interact with you every once in a while, and that's kind of one of those cool aspects, is the feeling of the bullies and why they're there and why are they such a bully.
B, why didn't you stop him? B, okay?
Man, that must have been rough for Beatrice. I guess I forget how lucky I am with my own parents.
Now the bullies is something I touched on briefly, and then that's kind of a sense of what's actually happening in the real world. And I don't want to spoil anything what's going on with these bullies, but when they interact with yourself as Ash and they get a hold of your paintbrush, it starts to give you the lowdown on what's going on and why they are the bully. It still doesn't give them the right to be a bully, but it shows you a little insight to their family life and what's happened and what makes them kind of turn and be that way.
That's what you wanted, right?
One of the cool features in the game is the ability to go in with VR and use the wands to do the graffiti. They call it the VR experience, and ultimately, that's all it is just an experience. It doesn't allow you to play the full game in VR, which would have been an absolute blast to play this whole graffiti art platforming game, because that's there in the main campaign, but the VR experience is just a VR experience. It allows you to go into a 3D world and how you can then bring up the grass or some flowers or some trees or whatever the graffiti might be, or you can go onto a 2D platform and go into the world and then kind of graffiti the walls, but it doesn't let you play the whole campaign. That, I think, would have been the highlight right there, is to play this whole game in VR. That would have been an experience.
That's better.
So obviously the main focus of the game is using the graffiti and bringing in these monsters to create and help brighten up and bring the world back to its full vitality. But there is a bit of platforming, which kind of caught me by surprise. A little platforming with some parkour work is kind of cool. The ability to go along the rooftops and then swing down is kind of neat. It's a nice little addition to the game I wasn't quite expecting. Overall, my time with Concrete Genie has been an absolute blast. Probably on one of my top 10 games of the year so far. Concrete Genie for me is getting a 9. Subscribe to never miss a video and help us by hitting that like button. Concrete Genie is an artistic inspiration to the industry. A beautiful graffiti palette of creations with a touching story is all that I needed to really enjoy this title. The 6-axis turned out to be better than I thought it was going to be after a bit of practice. The VR experience really could have made this game something truly special if you were able to play the campaign in VR or non-VR. However, the VR experience is just that, an experience that is enjoyable, but not very long lasting.